Greetings, family. I don't know. I feel like I haven't talked to you all in a while. I've been recording a lot of what's been going on in the community just to give you all the feeling and flair of Sierra Leone. I really love it here. I've said before that when I'm in the States, I have this feeling like I'm in a Spike Lee movie and I'm the only thing that's moving, like on one of those escalators in the airport, and everything else is just kind of still, right? But somehow here, like I feel energetic, lively, like I'm in the mix, I'm part of the bartering and the negotiating. I'm smiling at sisters. I'm able to uplift businesses and encourage people. And I feel encouraged. Like they don't even know how much it does for me when they're saying thank you. I'm like, no, thank you. Like you have no idea how much I need this energy right now, right? So this video today, of course, saying thank you to my Sierra Leone brothers and sisters that have been very welcoming. I want to do that, but I also wanted to come to you all today to talk about the COVID test situation. It's a little different here. So upon arrival, we came in and it was chaos. For me, it was a little chaotic, okay? It was organized chaos, nevertheless, but it was chaotic. You need to come in with cash. Dollars, Sierra Leone, Leones, however you want to do it, but have cash in hand, right? Because I came in with a little bit of cash because I had exchanged some Ghanaian money, but I didn't think it would be that much of an issue for me to use my card to pay for my Visa. My debit card, comes directly from my checking account. So this is not a credit card. And to pay for the COVID test, because I assumed that was like a medical type of situation. Nevertheless, I came to the airport. They was like, no, the card machine's not working. You're going to need to go out to the ATM, get the cash, and come back. And they were asking me to leave my son. I was having a problem with that because I'm like, not leaving my baby here with y'all. I don't know you yet, and they were just like, come on, mommy, your son is fine. He'll be right here. And then when I got to the door, the officers who were dressed in fatigues were like, well, we need you to leave your passport. Mind you, the ATM is right next to the door. You got to walk maybe 10 feet or something, but the ATM is next to the door. So I'm like, okay, all right. So they took my passport. I go to the cash machine and I have to make like four withdrawals of 400,000 Sierra Leones. Okay. So I'm just like, wow. It seems that the machine only allows you to take a certain amount, but you can do it in separate transactions. But because of the amount I needed, I had to do it that way. Mind you, before I left out, I said to them, should I do this for the medical piece at the lab? And they were like, no, they have a card machine. Don't worry about it. Get over there. Same thing. You need a card machine. So when Amon and I left from paying for the visa, got our visas stamped, officer asked us a few questions, what we had in our bags, that sort of thing. And then he said, he was done with us. So we walk over to get our luggage. I don't see anywhere to test in the airport, so I'm assuming they're going to tell us at the door, or maybe I won't have to pay, right? Since I already took a test in Ghana. No, honey. As we grab our bags and we're about to walk, a young man approaches us and says, where do you have your COVID test? And I said, no, we just got our bags. He said, come with me. So apparently someone had been watching us the whole time, right? So he leads us outside. We go to like a trailer that's like 100, not even 50 feet from where the airport door is at. You come out, you go to the right, and there's a trailer set up for you to do the COVID test. So they had given us these little slips of paper that said lab 1. They took our information. So Amon and I were both supposed to go to lab 1. So they called me. I went in first. So when I go inside now, the guy, it's a young lady, and she tells me that, they do the nose test, which wasn't too bad because she didn't go as far back as some of them have. But they also do a finger prick, like they draw blood. So I'm like, okay, I don't really do the needle thing, so I always turn away. Baby, when she pulled out that little needle and jukes me with it, it hurt. Like it really hurt. That was kind of probably more painful than a little nose thing. She pricked me and my index finger. She squeezed it and then used a little tube to draw the blood. Dropped it in a plastic envelope and then dropped my swab in a plastic envelope and then put that in there too. So there were 2 samples from me for them to check for COVID. Shortly after that, I got a little notice that said I was good. I'm okay, I can go. And they hold you like in that little area until you're cleared. So I come out and I'm coming to warn Amon, you're going to get your finger pricked. This is going to be a little different than what we've experienced. And Amon is gone. He's gone. Like literally, he's not sitting outside. So I'm looking at the guard like, where's my son? And it's not even really a guard. It's like a young brother that was just calling the names to go in. So he's like, it's okay, Mom, calm down. You know, he went to the other lab. And I'm like, well, why would you send him to lab 2 when his slip said lab 1? Like in my mind, that's just going to confuse the results when they come back. Why aren't you keeping things the way they are? So he says, well, yours got crowded because someone else was waiting. So that one emptied faster. So we let him go over there. And I'm like not happy now because I'm like, anything could happen. What if his results came back positive? Like I would never see my child again. They would separate him from me, you know, and that would be a problem. So, you know, I'm going through the whole Western mentality of they trying to separate us. They trying to divide us while they not letting me be present with my son. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to keep it contained. But all these fears kind of creep out of you when you just worried about stuff, you know. So you think you're okay, but as soon as something happens that's like a trigger for you, you start to think the worst of everything. And that is something like I have to shake. I don't know how I'm going to shake it. I guess until I become comfortable on a continent and know that I'm safe here. I have to not only believe it, but like I have to know it, believe it, and feel it, right? So I'm waiting, I'm tapping my foot, you know, and the brother, he probably can see me behind my mask looking like they better open this door soon or I'm about to get up and I'm going to go in here and find out what's going on. So I'm trying to be respectful. I'm just sitting there. I'm waiting. I'm sitting there and the brother's like, Mommy, your son is fine. He's okay. And then there's some other sisters that are sitting out there that must work for the lab. And they're like, he's fine. Really, he's okay. They just had to set up to get ready for him. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just waiting, you know. And then finally, like 10, 15 minutes later, Amon comes out and I'm like, what took so long? And he said, well, they took a while to do the test. He was just sitting there waiting while they were getting their gloves and whatever else on, right? So he got his and they said he was good and he could go. So we go to both walk out the gate together. I give the guy my slip that says, you know, I'm good. And it's just a little piece of paper that somebody put a stamp on, right? And Amon gets ready to go, and the guy's like, where's your paper? And Amon's like, they didn't give me a paper. They just told me to go. So we're like, here we go. So he's like, okay, just go ahead, you know, because he knew he was inside, and if there was a problem, he wouldn't have been outside. That's for sure. Okay, so we leave there. So that was that part of the COVID test. I didn't feel my finger bother me after that. I only felt it in the moment. I did have a little bit of a drip, and I've had like a stuffy nose off and on, but I addressed that by doing like a saline rinse. And I made sure when I went to the beach that I went under the water when I got wiped out. So that helped. And all the pepper that I've been eating has just been like just cleansing. Like it's amazing. Because I don't do pepper in the States. I will not do it. But here, it's a different type of heat. Like there's a smoothness to it, you know. I could do with it or without it. I've been able to eat the food without any problem. A little different from Ghana pepper. But I was able to eat that too, which was kind of surprising to me because I'm not a hot food, spicy food person. Okay, so that's the test coming in. Finger prick and 1 nasal, right? Okay, so now I'm leaving Sierra Leone and my process. Oh, let me go back. Before I left from getting my COVID test done, and I was waiting for Amon, I asked them, what do I need to do when I'm leaving? Because I'm going to be coming back to the airport and going to the Gambia. So they said to me that I had to report to a place in Freetown called the Special Courts, and they named someplace else I don't remember. So I figured I would just check with Chief and Sister Kenya about where I could get this COVID test done once I got into Freetown. So I knew I had a location to go to, but they told me I couldn't get it done at the airport because I was thinking if I could get it done at the airport, I would just come earlier. They said, no, you have to get it done in Freetown. This is for people that are arriving or whatever. So I said, okay. So now we go to, I'm leaving, right? It's already like a week and a half now because remember, I came 2 days late because I missed my flight, right? I was supposed to be on the 15th. I arrived on the 17th. I leave on the 24th. So I've only been here like about a week now. Okay, so we leave tomorrow. So your COVID test has to be done within 72 hours. So when I hear 72 hours, I think you're telling me that I have to have it done within 72 hours of the time that I fly. But it's a little different here. That 72 hours means if you don't get it done at that 72 within that 72 hour time frame, you're not going to get your results back by the time you fly. Okay? So when I went to get the test, they were like, we close at 2, and it's like after 2. Mind you, we were waiting for a phone call for someone that was supposed to tell us to come on over to get these tests done, but that never happened. So Chief told us just go ahead down there before the place closed, and that's what we did. And when we got down there, they were like, well, y'all are kind of late. We were about to close, but obviously they weren't because there was a few people waiting. Everybody has a little box on their desk for Christmas, for the holiday, I guess, asking for donations. So when you check in, they have a little box on the desk. When you go in the lab, they have a little box on the desk. Even the man that kind of directed us, he didn't have a box, but he had an invisible box because he sure tried to make sure he looked for us when we were leaving, right? So we get in there, and I give the guy my paperwork, which looks like this, right? This is my receipt from the other company, saying that I paid for my COVID test, right? So I got the receipt. It says I paid online. When I go into that office, I'm asking them I'm sorry, erase that. I'm confusing this. Let me go back because I don't want to confuse you guys. Okay, so leaving, we go into, let me think for a second how that worked. 72 hours. Okay, there's 3 people at the desk, right? And this is why I was so confused. All 3 of them are asking me questions about me and Amon. One is filling out papers for Amon, one is filling out papers for me, but all 3 of them are filling out the paperwork. And I'm looking and I'm like, this seems confusing to me. How do they know that they're not duplicating the information or filling out the same papers? One lady seems to have a little attitude that it's past the time. The guy is rushing and he's tending to people at the same time. And the girl is trying to put the information down, but she's putting my information on a paper for Amon. So I'm like, okay, they say they know what they're doing, so I'm going to leave this alone. Okay. So they get all of our information down. They tell us to go sit, and they give us a little number. So we go sit down. So we're sitting down. We're waiting with one of the managers from Chief's organization. And, he's talking to them. We're sitting down. We're waiting. A guy comes out with a sheet, and he calls a few numbers, and they seem to be confused about the numbers. Okay, second red flag. So Chief's manager gets up and talks to him and says, well, these are the 2 for the numbers you're looking for. So the guy from the lab comes out, who was the same one filling out paperwork. He's now in the lab, like he got 100 positions, right? Third red flag. So he comes out and he calls me in, and I go in, and he's going with the Q-tip, and I'm like, what are you doing? I thought this was a saliva test for the Gambia. And he's like, no, not upon departure from Sierra Leone. I'm like, okay. So he goes up 1 nostril, 2 nostrils. He doesn't go all the way back. He's just kind of taking a sample. Okay, he does that. And then before I go to walk out, he kind of steps in front of me and he's like, it's the holiday, it's Christmas, which I keep forgetting that it's Christmas time, right? It's the holiday, it's Christmas, and I'm like, okay, your point. I made a donation when I came here on the water tax. Like, where are you going with this? No, whatever. So I look outside to Amon to see if he has anything I can stick in their little box, just like a token of appreciation for the holiday. He doesn't, or he has his Ghana money. So I'm like, okay. So I think I dropped in like 10,000 in Sierra Leone or something like that. I go sit down. They call Amon in. Amon goes in. They do the test on him. Same thing, nostrils. Amon comes out. He says, "Mom, the guy's asking me for money." And I'm like, he said, "I told him I don't have money." And I was like, "Baby, don't worry about it. They're just trying to put something in the box for Christmas." So Amon comes out. So we leave, right? We have our little receipts. And when we leave, they have a notice on the door. I take a picture of it, and it tells you where to go, right? It says that you have to go to this location at Wilkinson Road, Freetown, and they call it the National COVID-19 Emergency Response Center. It's part of the health department, and that's where we had to report to get this. And this is for the nasopharyngeal swab, NASOPHARYNGEAL swab sample, and they tell you that it's been tested, right? Okay, so this is where we needed to go. So I made sure I took a picture of it because I didn't want to forget. And I know sometimes the drivers, like, stuff gets lost in translation. So we left, and they told us that don't come back here. Go to this other location on Wednesday, and your results will be ready. And the guy kept saying, if you're leaving Wednesday, we can't guarantee you that your results will be there. And I'm like, what kind of nonsense is this? We're not leaving on Wednesday. We're leaving Thursday, but you're supposed to have people's results if they paid for them, right? So nevertheless, here we go. Fast forward, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Like, I know they don't like when people are late, so I decided to get there early. 9 o'clock, our driver, who's a good guy, Muhammad, happened to call because I was calling him and couldn't get him. I called him last night, called this morning. I even texted him. He calls me and says, "Listen, do you still need me for that appointment?" And I said, "Yes, please come." So he got us over there in time. We get there. I showed them these receipts, right? These are our receipts to pick up our results. And it basically says that we paid online. It has our passport numbers on it, has our flight number and a reference number, as well as our names. So we get inside, and the guy pulls a mine certificate, right? This is a mine certificate that has a little official stamp on it saying that he, his results were negative, that he has been tested, that no viral particle detected at the time of this test on December 22nd. So now I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. Of course, they put it in the envelope, so I'm waiting because it's just one envelope. I look in there, it's just one certificate. There's no certificate for me, and there's no envelope for me. So I'm like, I need one more. And the guy's like, we're looking, and the sister's looking up and down the list, and she sounds a little hoarse. So she's kind of annoyed with people. She's probably not feeling well. She has her mask on. She's looking up and down the list. She can't find my name. I said, well, check and see if they put my first name as my surname, since you can't find a certificate. She looking, can't find it. So she passes it to the guy, like, you need to look. So he looks on the computer. He can't find it. When she pulls out a certificate, it says Andrea, but it has someone else's middle name and last name. And I'm like, that's not me. So now they're looking, can't find it. So I sit patiently and I'm waiting. And as I'm waiting, I'm just observing, what's happening in the office, So now it's like 9:30, 10. I'm just waiting. 11 o'clock, I'm waiting. By this time, folks done pulled out a big dish of cray. They eating food, 5 or 6 people done ate out this bowl with their spoons. And I'm just admiring how they share when everybody got a taste for breakfast, And a man comes in and he collects several documents, several certificates with the passports. He must be from a company, Asian man. And then a brother comes in and he collects several passports. He has several passports. He's collecting results. And another man comes in who sounds Australian, and he's saying how he's leaving. His flight was canceled, and he's now leaving on Saturday. And he's asking, can they adjust his results because the flight was canceled that the airline sent him there. So it seems that they may even change dates if you need dates changed because of something with the airport. And they told him, you need to come back Saturday, even though he said he was leaving Saturday, which I was like, okay, good luck with that one. And then people are just coming in and out, getting their stuff, and I'm waiting. And the brother has, at this time, he's called the lab, and he's waiting for the lab to get back to him. And then at about 11, he finally says to me, listen, I don't want to keep you waiting here because they're not calling me back. I haven't heard anything. They're still looking. He says, check back with me at 4. And I'm like, listen, I came a distance to get here. Like, I caught a KK to get here on time. I did this Monday, and I don't understand how you have results from my son. I took my test before him. Why don't you have both of our results together? He says, we're hoping to hear from them by 4, and if we don't, I can send someone to bring you your results. So I wrote down the name of the hotel, the location, my phone number, my name, and what could I do? It is what it is. I'm glad I went today, and at least maybe there's some time to correct this. So I'm waiting. They're supposed to come at 4 o'clock. I think it's about maybe 2 o'clock now. I'm not sure. Haven't heard anything yet. I hope that they get back to me before the day is out. If they don't, I'll call if no one comes about 4, because I think they close at 5. Plus, it's holiday time. We have to remember that it's holiday time. So this would be like Christmas Eve, I guess. So I'm waiting, The system is just really, it's disorganized. What I would recommend to people is that if you get this test done, be prepared to get your test. Be prepared to, when you get your certificate, check the spelling of your name, check the seal to make sure that the date is legible, that you are able to read it. Just check the spelling, because if it's wrong, obviously it's not going to be you, and you're going to have a problem when you get to the airport. Make sure that your information is correct on your receipt. Make sure you do your test within 72 hours, or you're going to be asked out. Like, you're going to be in a bind. Okay, I did mine in 72 hours, and you see what I'm doing right now. Luckily, my flight leaves tomorrow, but anyone who was leaving today that might have had this problem would have had an issue, right? So I just wanted to do this video to let you know what happens from beginning to end with the COVID test in Sierra Leone and what that looks like. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave any comments or inquiries below, and if I can get back to you or get more information, I'll be glad to do that for you. So just be prepared, folks. Hopefully I will get my results. I'll be reporting tomorrow when we leave for the Gambia, because I'm confident that they're going to get this together, and then I can let you all know what happens. Stay strong, stay resilient, and I look forward to reporting how I'm in the airport on my way to the Gambia. Blessings.